Hey folks, welcome to the 5th annual edition of the Casco Bay Island Swim Run, which we also call the Cole Classic. So obviously we didn't have the race in 2020 due to the pandemic, but we're super excited to be back in 2021 on August 8th and excited to have you guys all here. Just going to start out with a brief history of what swim run is, what you got yourself into, the origins of our race, and then we're going to really drill down into the details of the course. We're looking to be about 30 minutes here. This is the mandatory athlete briefing, and so this can be in place of coming to our physical packet pickup, where we won't have an athlete briefing there. We will be on hand to answer questions that you might have, but this really is going to go into all the details of the course. If you have not selected to have your packet mailed to you, which is over now at this time, then you will have to physically come to our packet pickup location on Saturday. So let's just jump right into the history of the race and how Odyssey Swim Run came about. Ötillö is a Swedish race, and it means island to island in Swedish. And originally the race was teams of two. And by teams of two, we mean two people racing together throughout the entire event, not tagging off.
Lars, you cut out there a little bit.
Probably within a day of having done that, I got a phone call from Jeff Cole, a longtime buddy of mine from who lived in Kennebunkport, Maine. And Jeff said, "Hey, wow, I heard about this, saw this video of this crazy race in Sweden. We have, a beautiful location like this in our backyard here in Portland." I said, "Jeff, wow, I just did that race." And, that kind of hatched our curiosity for putting on a race in the Casco Bay Islands. And unfortunately, Jeff is no longer with us. He passed away suddenly a couple of years ago. But what Jeff did was in 2015, he actually hosted the very first swim run that took place on North American soil on Cape Porpoise, which is really near Kennebunkport. And just a few brave souls tested out a route that Jeff put forth and completed the very first swim run that took place on North American soil. But fast forward to 2016, and that was the very first running of our Casco Bay Island swim run. What we hear from a lot of people who have done both the Swedish race and also our race in the Casco Bay Islands is that the characteristics of the two are very similar to one another. Both have extremely rocky terrain, both have changing tides, both have cold water, very slippery rocks that you're exiting and entering out of. And so the characteristics of the two are very close to one another and mimic that. We've retained a very close partnership with the Ötillö folks. And in fact, they do have a race in North America now on Catalina Island. And the Casco Bay race actually has 3 spots: the overall men's winner, the overall women's winner, and the overall mixed team winner. Those are all team categories from our long course. They each earn a free entry into an Ötillö World Series event. And so what we're called, what's called as a merit event, which earns you points for that Ötillö race series. So, with that said, we welcome you to the 5th edition here. We've grown considerably over the years. We're now 5 events in the U.S. We have 2 races in Michigan, Mackinac Island, and then also Ludington State Beach. We also have our race on Orcas Island in Washington State that will be taking place for the 3rd time, and then Austin, Texas, which will take place for the 2nd time this year. So we're really excited about the growth of Odyssey and more people throughout the U.S. getting involved in swim run. And, whereas we have So just to let you know what the makeup is, so we have 355 athletes who are signed up right now. We're probably expecting another 50 or so by the time that race day rolls around. You come from 30 different states, and once again, Maine has the best representation with 62 athletes. Massachusetts is close behind in second. New York, California, and New Hampshire rounded out. But you come from 30 different states. We actually don't have anyone from outside the U.S. this year, but that's kind of to be assumed due to COVID restrictions for many countries. And then actually this year it's a higher skew of males. So 68% of you are guys and 32% are gals. In previous years, we've been closer to 50-50. So hopefully the ladies step it up again in future editions. And then we have 17 people who are over the age of 60, with our oldest competitor being 69 years old, which is absolutely incredible. Doug Comstock is not doing the race this year, but I think he was 72 or 3 when he's competed in previous years, but he'll be back. And then we actually have 5 athletes who are under the age of 21. So we give you guys massive kudos for spending your weekends with us and not outdoing what many other 21-year-olds are out there doing. So thanks for joining us. Let's dive right into the actual nuts and bolts of what's going to happen here for Casco Bay Islands. There's a lot of details. These are very intensive, races that have a lot of information. And so with that, I want to introduce you to my partner, Aaron Pallian, who is, he's out of Michigan, but he's worked with us in many capacities. First and foremost, as in the early years, as our race photographer, but in recent years as one of our race operating in partners, and pretty much handles everything from customer service to timing to just all of the nuts and bolts that go into everything behind the scenes. So Aaron, take it away, man.
Thanks, Lars. Hi to all you. Welcome. Thank you for signing up. I know it's been kind of a rocky road for quite a few of you. I'd say a vast majority that are signed up this year were given that 50% back, and then the coupon to re-register this year. And we certainly appreciate that. There are some that didn't choose to take advantage of that, but a majority did. And then we also have a lot of first timers that piled onto that registration for the first time this year, and we're not carryovers from 2020. So thanks to everyone. We were a little nervous how it was going to come back after that year with COVID, and the numbers are pretty strong. So we're really happy. We've been working really hard to up the game. Lars brought me on to help organize things, and as they were wanting to expand, and I'm helping to come up with some races in Michigan here. My job's been to organize, like he said, the customer service, but then also logistics of equipment and pretty much all the pre-race stuff leading in. And I leave all the technical course stuff to these guys, at least for now. I'm trying to get back in shape and get out there, but packet pickup and registration and everything, and the emails you've seen, and a lot of the stuff addressed on Facebook, that's all me. So if I don't hold it against Lars if I respond or don't respond, but
what I might just say is that be very glad that it's Aaron handling this, because he is an expert. Be very glad it's not myself or John Stevens handling this part.
And you're lucky it wasn't me from 5 years ago. I've learned a lot, and my customer service skills have gotten better over the years. So
you've become much nicer.
Yes. All right, so let's jump in, guys, to keep this as short as we can. Lars said 30 minutes, might be more like 40, 45, but I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see what it is that we are reading off of here, because I'm going to share this document with you guys. We're not quite done with it. We might make a few revisions after this, but this will go out this week, maybe in a day or two, to everybody and be available. If you guys ever spot anything that we share and there's either mistakes or questions, please point them out. We'll either explain ourselves further, or maybe you catch something that we didn't. We're always glad to make revisions if needed. But so this document right here is what I would call an athlete guide. We're not going to go too nuts with it. It may grow over the years, but these were the important points that I pulled off the website, and some things that maybe not be on the website, but are important for you to know. So first thing is packet pickup. We recently posted that packet pickup is going to be at the Omain Studios and Media Kitchen, which is 54 Danforth Street, Portland, Maine. That we had as a 1 to 4 packet pickup. So we've had to condense that just a little bit. Short course is going to pick up their packet from 1 to 2 o'clock because of capacity restrictions we have and just to keep it a little bit more organized. Long course is going to pick up between 2 to 3 p.m. We have to be out of there by 4. So from 3 to 4 is going to be kind of the Q&A that Lars talked about. Him and or John will be there to answer questions. It'll be super informal. It'll be kind of a separate area from where we picked up packets, but in that same building, maybe off to the side. So they can answer questions. They can talk about things that maybe as they've set the course, they've noticed, you know, hey, we didn't know this came up. Since they're open courses for the most part, some things do come up. So we don't necessarily anticipate that, but if they do, they'll talk about that. You guys can wander in any time in that hour and ask some questions. Please keep your questions to things that maybe you missed, even though you read through this, but we need you guys to listen to this video. We need you guys to read through the guide we'll send and look at the website. If you come up with questions outside of that, we're happy to answer them, but it can take up a lot of time asking questions that are already answered 2 or 3 times over. Okay. So try to stick to the short course or long course specific times to pick your packet up. I will say, so that we don't get a bunch of emails, if you absolutely are not able to make short course from 1 to 2 and you have to pick up during long course, that's okay. But please respect to the best you can the time limitations we're putting on that, okay? The address is there for packet pickup. So things we provide at packet pickup for you. If you got your packet mailed to you, you're gonna get your swim.
Hey, Aaron, I apologize. Can I just jump right in and say,
Yeah,
you know, we will all be available, even starting at that 1 to 2 short course packet pickup. So, you know, just pull John, myself aside, you know, if you have questions there too. So the point being, we don't want you, if you're short course between 1 and 2, to A, stick around for that 3 to 4, or B, wait until the 2 to 3 just to hear the Q&A. It's not going to be an in-depth session at all. So if you do have questions, just ask them of us when you come to the short course briefing. Like Aaron said, please do not pile up into that 2 to 3 briefing. And in fact, I would say, please email our support at odysseyswimrunusa.com if you have a flight that's arriving after, you know, that's not allowing you to be in by 1 to 2. But again, please respect those times.
Yeah, so what Lars said is great. Him and or John will be there the entire time, so you can pull them aside. I'm planning on running packet pickup with a handful of volunteers, and I'm not counting them in that. So they should be available to mingle and talk to you guys. So the thing is with that, make sure that you're pulling them aside or that you're going to a different place to talk to them. Please don't be in the packet pickup line asking race questions. If it's a question specifically about your packet, that's okay, but it may be a long line and we don't want to tie it up with questions that Lars or John can answer or that have been answered a bunch of times. So just be respectful and aware. And again, the time from 3 to 4 will be there cleaning up and everything, but it's not necessarily a designated time like for this big briefing, like he said. Okay, so moving on. Silicone swim cap, you're going to get one of these. You keep them, they're keepsake, but you have to wear them during the event. Red is long course, blue is short course. Along with that, you will get a race bib. I don't have the race bibs. They're with our timer because he mailed out the packets and he's going to bring the remaining ones to hand out during packet pickup. They look exactly like this pink one, except the number on it won't be 10. It'll be whatever number is assigned to you. And these will be either blue, the matching the cap color, or red, matching your cap color, okay? This pink one, by the way, is one of our legacy bibs. It's the first one you can earn if you do 10 or more. And then as you get to do more, there's neon green and there's navy blue when you get way up there. But you can earn these along with the matching cap that you can wear in place of your bib number once you get to that point. So we do carry these around. If you hit that number and you know you've done, and that's our swim runs, Odyssey swim runs, or Swim Run USA back in the day, let us know if we don't come to you first and we can get you one of these, all right? So you're gonna get one of these. Keep in mind that if you had your packet mailed to you, we already assigned you a number and we sent you your packet. In that packet, you're gonna have a swim cap, your bib, and your cup. That's it. The remaining items that you, having your packet mailed to you, are gonna need to get are gonna be, if you're a solo athlete only, this rest tube, which is a auto-inflating with a whistle on the cord, auto-inflating tube you wear. And if you're in an emergency, you can pull it. We only give these as free rentals that you have to return at the end to the solo athletes. They can, in place of these, although we don't encourage it, use one of those buoys you inflate and pull behind you, like New Wave that we had in the past. If you're going to use that in place of it, please just let us know that you're not getting this as a solo athlete. The teams are not, it's not mandatory for you to have this or the pull behind buoy. But if you want to use a pull behind buoy, or if you have one of these on your own, that's fine, but we don't give these to the teams. So timing chips and straps, those also are not available for packet pickup that had them mailed to them. So you'll need to get this if you're solo, the timing chip and the strap for all packets that were mailed. And if you rented a wetsuit, we didn't mail those either. So those three things. Those are available for those that had their packet mailed at regular packet pickup during any of the time we're there, 1 to 4. Our timer will have those at a separate table so you can avoid that line. Or if you want to avoid that altogether, you can get those race morning at the dock as you board the ferry. But that is only for people that had their packets mailed to them. Please, everyone else, you won't be on that list, and we will not have your packet for you if you attempt to do that. Okay. So everyone else that picks their packet up will get the cap, will get the bib, you'll get your cup, which was mailed in the packets too, but you'll get your cup, the silicone cup, carry with you. We have a cupless race. There's no cups at the aid station. This can go anywhere on you or hooked to a carabiner. You'll only obviously be able to take this at the aid station. You're not going to be able to fill this and run with it most likely, or it'll get everywhere. But Lars, do you want to speak for a second on the flask that you had that they can maybe find and buy on their own before they get there?
Yeah, so as you'll find, swim run is widely individual in that people have different setups and such. What I want to add to Aaron, and we're going to go over the course in the description, but stop at every aid station that we have and take on hydration, because they are put throughout the course. And you know, if you are needing something at a time that it's not there, I just highly recommend stop, take a minute, get a gel that we have at the aid station, get a drink at the aid station, use those aid stations. But if you don't want to use the collapsible cup, you can purchase on your own. There's different companies that do these, but these inflatable flasks, same thing. They can condense really down into next to nothing, but they fill up. Some people will stash them inside their wetsuit, you know, what have you, if it's like a longer run. That's something that you can carry with you filled up throughout the course. But otherwise, like Aaron said, we are providing you with those collapsible cups, and that's going to be impossible to run with while filled. So, you know, stop, take time, drink at the aid station, fill up your cup a couple of times, whatever it is, but use that at the aid stations.
So the other thing is to mention there, in case it wasn't clear, we used to have those flasks for sale. We will not have those flasks for sale at packet pickup. So if you want one, get one before, please, on your own. Additionally, I talked about timing chips, but let me talk overall. Tony Sapp with Negative Split Timing is going to be our timer all year, and he will have the timing chips and straps there. As far as numbers go, everyone, and this is different from in the past, we assigned one number to a team and one number to a solo athlete. So if you're on a team, you had the same number on your bib, you had the same number overall, and just one timing chip. That's different, for the reason that we want every single person in the race to have their own individual number. So if you're solo, you'll have a number and a chip that should match. Then if you're a team, you'll have a number each that will be different, and a chip each that should match your bib number, but it will not be the same as the other person on the team. Those will likely be sequential, but they may not be, and it really doesn't matter. As long as you have the right color and design that goes with whatever category you are, that's all that really matters. So we just want to be able to identify every person. For whatever reason, we don't want to come across the team and not know who's who on the team because you both have the same number. Or
well, Aaron, let me just say, it's not for, it is for a very specific reason. We have attempted various safety measures over the years, including GPS units that float in a buoy above the water, and you know, chips that follow you on a computer. We're trying to simplify the process, and this is I think the next step in taking that, our tracking system of you out there on the course for safety reasons to the next level. So this is the solution that we've come up with for this year. It does in a way seem kind of funny that you wouldn't have the same number as your teammate, but it's a checks and balances system that works for us and that we need for our safety measures.
And the great thing is we're working towards, it may not be this year, but definitely in the future. Tony, being the timer that he is always at the forefront of technology. And our goal eventually is to have multiple points that you'll go past on the course, and even possibly a tracker that will follow you the whole day. So that's our goal eventually. And this is kind of a step in that direction too. So these will work as normal chips though. They are not disposable. You will return them along with the ankle, the band at the end. We'll have a bucket for those. And along with the solo athletes, we give out the rest tubes too. There'll be a bucket at the end. You put these in as well. They're not for you to keep, just used during the race. And then wetsuits. Any of you that have rented wetsuits from us, I think we have 20 available. They might all be spoken for by now. We will have those at packet pickup. And again, if you had your packet mailed, you can get it there or at the ferry the next morning. That's a 24-hour or less rental. You have to turn that in at the end of the race when you're done. That does not go in a bucket at the end of the finish line. That will go to our timer, Tony. He will check those in and out for you. So if you do not return that, you are responsible for that. Please make sure he gets that wetsuit, okay? And then let's see, the only other question that we get about the timing chips is if I'm on a team and we both have our own timing chip and we cross the line, what time counts? The last person on the team to cross the line counts. We don't want someone sprinting ahead, 300-400 meters and that's the time. It's when the second person crosses, that's officially your team time right there. And the two numbers of you guys, they're linked to the team. So that's how that works. All right, going down. At the finish this year, everyone, in place of getting an extra item at packet pickup, everyone will get we're calling them finisher sweatshirts. They don't have the word finisher on them, but they're awesome. They're head sweats, they're custom. You can run in these, they're a little thinner, definitely breathable. They have thumb holes in the sleeves for running and hoods, and they're great. Try your best not to change the size when you're coming to claim those at the end. Those, along with the food, should be in the boathouse, which is the building just past the finish line. Make sure you get that before you leave. Those are only for athletes that finish the race. Let me roll in. Was there anything else you wanted to go over for packet pickup, Lars? Okay. Let me roll into the schedule of events. So on Saturday, again, 1 to 2 short course packet pickup, 2 to 3 long course packet pickup. I'm going to delete that briefing there. Ask questions any of those times, really. Sunday, August 8th. 5:15 a.m. to 5:45 a.m. is the time frame you have to park, get out of your car, get to the dock, get in line, and get ready to board. These ferries board and leave within 5 minutes. They may open up just a little earlier, but they're not going to board for a half hour. So make sure you're in line. When you get there and you're in line, and the address is below, so you shouldn't have any issues there. When you get there and you're in line, make sure that you get a ticket. I'm going to walk down the line with physical tickets, and I'm going to hand them to every single person in line. This should only be the athletes. And at 5:15 to 5:45, it should only be long course. I'm going to walk down the line, give you your ticket, and when you get on the boat, you'll hand it back to either me or the boat company or the Casco Bay lines operators, whoever's there to take the tickets. At that point, you're done with the ticket. The same goes, I'm going to skip ahead here to short course athletes, and that ferry, it's going to leave the same area at 7:50, or it's going to be loading at 7:40, taking off 7:45. We recommend getting there early, parking, or if you're taking, any public transportation, walking over, whatever, make sure you're there in plenty of time. Okay, so something we just added was the spectator.
Hey, Aaron, I do want to add, so for people who are coming in who are not from Portland, Sunday is a free parking day on the streets in Portland. Just double check that any signs in the area, confirm that. But so parking is going to be parking outside of the parking garage at Casco Bay Ferry Lines will be readily available.
So the other thing too is that if you have never seen it before, don't know where it is, maybe check it out the day before. If you're not going to do that, then definitely make sure you get there early, just in case you have any issues. So the spectator ferry is going, and I'll talk more about that down the line here, but is going to board 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. It'll board actually 5 minutes before, but again, same process there. We will be selling tickets and more on that later. That will actually board about 200 meters down at Fogg's water taxi dock. So you're gonna have to walk down, but it's basically in the same area. If you show up to that area, you'll definitely be able to find it.
So who this is for, and we've had a ton of inquiries about, what about my family? What about my friends who want to come and see portions of the race? So we were not going to have an option, but because there were so many of you who asked about this, we decided to actually to charter the Fogg's Casco Bay Cat, which holds up to 49 people. And what Aaron said, this is directly across the ferry dock pier from the Casco Bay ferry lines. So that it is the Fogg's water taxi area. It's their largest boat that they have available. And yeah, stay tuned if this is you and you have family and friends who want to view the course, because this will trace the course as best as possible. Stay tuned. It's first come, first serve, and this is the option for that.
Yeah, and we'll probably open 40 to 45 spots for it, so we have a few for staff to get on there. But at the end of the day, we're talking about it'll be next 24 to 48 hours. I'll open up a run sign up registration area for that. Real simple, it'll just be some contact info and you buy the ticket. The ticket will be $50, but it will include the boat ride, which will follow the course, making a stop at Long Island for you to see the short course start and kind of just meander around, check out some things. And then from there in the water, it'll just follow the course the best it can and end up at Chablis, get the finish line. But in addition, for the $50 to that, you will get a meal ticket for our finish line area. And then you'll also get one of our special edition shirts that we're selling. That'll be included in that. So it's a pretty good deal. Just stay tuned. We'll announce that in the next little bit here. So those are all the ferries and the start times, or the boarding and departure times. 6:45 a.m. is long course. That begins at Peaks Island. For those of you that saw short, or that's long course, but for those of you that saw a short course at the 7 o'clock range, that was a typographical error. That should have been 9 o'clock. Apologize for that. So short course will begin at Long Island at 9 a.m. So then going along here, 8:30 a.m.
and solo.
And solo, because short course solo is all we offer. Yes. 8:30 a.m. is the first long course cutoff. That means you have to start the Little Diamond Island swim or start running on Little Diamond Island. You must exit swim 3 by 8:30. You have to exit swim 6 by 10 a.m. And that's Long Island. You have to start swim 9, which means you have to finish Long Island at noon. So just look that over and make sure you're aware of those course cutoffs.
And Aaron, I just want to say the reason why we have those course cutoffs is because we have a flotilla of safety boats that are out there establishing a safety perimeter on the course. We have the Coast Guard, we have various law enforcement boats. This is for your safety. They have to move up the course as the course flows. As you can probably think about, the faster athletes get far ahead, the slower athletes are further behind. It is a big fan of racers throughout the island chain. That safety law enforcement has to move their safety assets up to accommodate the bulk of the field. And so that's why we have those cutoffs at those times, at those locations.
Okay, so one of the things that I haven't covered that we've been asked a lot about are gear bags. Obviously, in the morning, we don't know exactly what the weather is going to be. And regardless of that, some people like to carry some stuff with them, whether that's to have on before they start the race, or whether it's planning ahead at the finish line and wanting to get out of whatever you raced in and get into some dry clothes or whatever. Whatever the reason is, whatever you bring with you, people have asked, what do I do with that? Are you guys transporting that for me? What do we do? So every athlete is allowed. We do not provide a gear bag at all. You're allowed, though, to have your own small bag. In that bag, you can put shoes, a towel, change of clothes, whatever you want, but it needs to be a small bag. You need to be able to identify that bag in a group of bags. However you want to do that is fine. And I would make sure that there's nothing important in it, like a cell phone, keys, a wallet. That bag should have stuff that you don't really want to lose, but if you can't find it and it's gone, so be it. You're not heartbroken over it. It's not the end of the day. We might get questions on, well, what do I do? I need my wallet. I need my keys. I need my phone. If you have a spectator there, give it to them. Figure out a way. We don't have enough resources, at least right now, to be able to run an entire checking in and out system for 400 people, given all the logistics of island to island and ferries and all this stuff. So you can bring that bag with you, and we'll have a designated spot probably right when you get off the ferry.
It's 12 o'clock.
And right when you get off the ferry, you're going to put it, it'll probably be a container, or maybe it's just an area and we pick them up. But we're going to have a boat that comes along to both the long course and the short course area and picks up all those bags. We're not sorting them. We're not keeping them short or long course. We're putting them all in a big pile. And we're going to take them to the finish line. We'll designate an area. It will likely be in that building where we have the finisher sweatshirts and the food, and we'll put them all in there. That way, if it rains or anything, they're okay. But you have to sort through that, and you have to get your own bag. Okay. We're not responsible for lost or stolen. I'm sorry, we just can't be, especially this year. But that's the solution. It's the best we can do. So that's where we're at there. Finishing off.
Aaron, one thing I'd like to add to that, since we're talking about the ferry and kind of that general area. So it is mandated by the Casco Bay Ferry Lines that you wear a mask. So please do bring a mask. Please respect their rules. Yeah, bring a mask. You'll have to wear it on that ferry ride to the start line and back from the finish line as well.
So Lars, anytime they're on a ferry, they need to wear a mask. But as far as I know, the rest of the time during the race, the start of the race, the finish, people can do what they want, right? We're not implementing any rules on that.
Yeah, as of right now, we don't have any restrictions placed on us by local or state government. So that's the only time that we have to mandate a mask.
So really, guys, do what you're comfortable with. If you don't want a mask or any of that stuff, that's fine. If you do, by all means, go for it, whatever you want to do. To finish out the schedule, 11:30 a.m. is when the Bay Mist, it's a ferry. That shuttle will depart the finish line area on the upper side of Shabig to take people down to the lower side where the normal ferry in Chandler Cove is. That's 2 miles between the finish and where the ferry that goes back to Portland departs from, loads and departs. So that being said, we wanted to eliminate that 2 miles for everybody to get back to be able to get to Portland. So we will have a ferry from the finish line or right around there, taking you those 2 miles around the edge of the island to where the normal ferry will load and then take you back to Portland. So once that ferry takes you around, you'll have almost no time. Get off the ferry, get onto the other ferry, and that'll depart Shabig to go back to Portland. So 11:30 a.m., the Bay Mist will depart from our finish line for the 11:50 departure on the Casco Bay lines back to Portland. So then,
hey, Aaron, so let's not go through all these times, folks. You can find this. We're gonna have this on the website. You can find all of the times, but we're 23 minutes in. Let's just keep.
Okay. So addresses, I don't have to read those off. This section just tells you where everything's at. Some of them don't have addresses, they're coordinates. So copy paste, you got it, you're good. Pre-race briefing, we went over that. Ferry tickets, good to go there. Ferry boarding, good. Athletes that had their packets mailed to them, you know what's up. Spectator ferry, bag drop, mandatory gear. All of you know by now you should have a wetsuit. Wetsuit does not include wetsuit shorts only, does not include swim skins. It is a wetsuit. We recommend an ARC wetsuit like Lars is holding up. Email us if you want 10% off that. We can get you the code and you probably still have time to get it and try it out. There might still be some that are rentable. And real quick, let me say, if you haven't seen this already, the way to do that, go to your Run Sign Up account, log in. Should say at that point, manage registration. Click there. The top menu, it's a gray part of the menu, should then say add-ons. Click there. Then it'll take you to the add-on screen that you had when you registered originally. Add anything on that's available that you want to do. At this point, training plans are long past, so are mailing your packet. All that's left is the wetsuit. You could still add that up until 2 days before the event if we have any left. So just be aware, you just finish it out, pay for it, you're good to go, you can get it at the race. But anyway, you have to have a wetsuit. Triathlon's fine, not preferred for sure, but it is what it is. Goggles, shoes, a tether. Remember, the tether, we would only say at some point during the race weekend, maybe even during the race, you have to use the tether if you're part of a team. Lars has one right there. You do not have to have both teammates carrying one, only one, but your team has to have it carried by one person, even if you never use it. A whistle. If you're solo and we give you one of these rest tubes, your whistle is included. It's right here, the pull cord. If you don't have one of these as a solo athlete and you're on a team, you both have to have a whistle. We don't care how cheap it is. As long as it works, makes a sound, you're good. Compression bandage. We don't have one of these to show you, but I don't know. They're what, 3x3, 4x4, Lars?
Yeah, and this is just this is a very, I mean, essentially something to stop bleeding if you're to slip on a rock and you know, slice your shin open or something like that. It's essentially just something to stop the bleeding. You know, you put it in a waterproof bag, you know, a Ziploc bag or something like that, and just carry it with you. Yeah, it doesn't have to be super fancy. Again, it's just something to put to stop the bleeding until we can get our medical team to check you out.
Yeah, littering is self-explanatory. You guys, if you're littering or you're not following the rules, I mean, it is what it is at that point. I think littering is an instant DQ and maybe future banment from being banned from the race.
Yeah, Aaron, this is actually a super important part.
Yep.
Swim run folks, that more and more there's a lot of you who are coming from different sporting backgrounds, and one thing that makes swim run unique is the fact that we treat nature with the utmost respect. It's a seamless flow between, you know, land, water, with one another, respecting nature, respecting, you know, the course that we have on hand. Oftentimes we're going through private property, meaning people's backyards, their front yards. They're giving us unprecedented permission to race through their yard. We take littering. It's right up there with treating one another with respect as a golden rule of swim run. If you litter, you're DQ'd, period. Just what you take with you, you carry it to the finish line. Or if we have a trash can along the course at an aid station, throw it away there. You know, I'm really proud that in past years, when we do our course cleanup at the end of the year, I'll find maybe one gel packet, which obviously probably mistakenly fell out of someone's backpack or something, or their wetsuit pockets. But this is just such a golden rule of swim run. We have to leave the race course better than we found it. So please, you know, respect one another, respect the course, and do not litter.
Okay, before Lars gets to the course, 30 seconds to just show you guys a couple things. We get a lot of questions that are already answered, whether that is right here under the info tab, under frequently asked questions and rules. All of these are accordion expandable things, and 99% of the questions we get emailed are answered in depth right here. Any other questions, for the most part, we get answered. 99%, again, are all on the race specific page, and each race has the—
Aaron, you're zooming through that so quickly, but you spent hours putting that together. Folks, literally let's slow this down. If you have a question, I guarantee that Aaron has thought about it. We have talked about it and we've answered it. Go on to that FAQ. It's on our website.
Let's say this, I've answered probably 3 questions in over a year that are not on the website. And those are great because we add them to the frequently asked questions then. Okay, so Lars, we added something to the bottom of each page. We get a lot of questions about teammates, whether you're looking for one, yours bailed on you, whatever it is. At the bottom of each race page, there's a looking for a teammate, click here link, takes you to a Google Sheet. On that Google Sheet, show you really quick, there's tabs at the bottom. There's really no one on here. There's one person. I just don't think people are taking advantage of it yet, but there's a tab for every single race. This will stay here every year. There's contact info for anyone looking. Contact each other if you need to. And last thing I'll say before I click on the map, you cannot make many changes right now. If it's detrimental to your race if you can't make a change that you have to, email us. We've closed all that down. But for other races, if you're in any of them, you can transfer to any other race this year, free admin charge to do so. You can change your registration in the category. We just want you to race. We don't want any people upset that they aren't racing. So let's do what we can to get you racing. All right. Lars, anything else before we get into the course?
No, we've got about 10 minutes, and this is
Yep.
the part that I'm the most excited about. You know, if we've taken care of the nuts and bolts, then I think we get to the good stuff, which is the race course.
Okay, so it's all yours, Lars.
Okay, so yeah, here's the race course that we have this year. If you've done previous iterations of the race, you'll recognize that it's once again a different course. I'm not going to say it's going to be that way every year, but we do pride ourselves on the fact that we are able to switch up the race course to give you a different look, to keep it unique every year. With that said, we haven't added any new islands into the race. We have raced over all these islands before. What is new is the finish line, which for years, Paul Baleska, who has been a huge supporter of our race on Shabig, has asked for the finish line to be at his marina, at his boatyard. And so we were able to work it out this year. So the finish line is there. It's a beautiful facility. You know, like we've mentioned, we're going to be able to get that ferry in to pick you up at the finish line. And we're going to do more racing on Shabig Island this year, which is going to be fun as well. But yeah, you know, generally what you should expect on land and in the water. Casco Bay is in the islands. It is they're beautiful when you look at pictures of them, but they are very inhospitable, meaning the characteristics that you're going to be facing are really, really challenging. If you're a triathlete, this is more akin to an Xterra race or an off-road triathlon versus a road triathlon. That means that you're going to be having to deal with slippery rocks, jagged rocks, island roads, single track trails, roads, and these island roads have lots of potholes on them, all kinds of different running terrain, uneven footing, you know, the type of footwear that you're going to want, not your, you know, Nike, oh gosh, what do they call them? Like those Zoom Alpha Pluses. Yeah, you don't want those. You want a lightweight trail shoe that has lugs on them, that has that grippy rubber that can, you know, help you with traction when you're on those slippery rocks. And most importantly, something that's can drain water really well. So, you know, the course, let's just start with the finish line here, or sorry, with the starting line. We're going to start with long course, and then by the time we get to Long Island, that's going to be where short coursers can tune in. So long courses, you're going to start at Peaks Island at the ferry terminal there. Right away, go straight up a hill, probably the steepest hill on the entire course. It's going to be a brief road run. You're going to follow one of our pace runners or pace cyclists. Then we're going to hop into the Peaks Island Trail Reserve, which is single track trails. When you're out there on the running course, we're going to have signage that's going to be telling you where to go. If it is, Aaron, what's our color for long course?
We're just doing all yellow, the whole thing.
Okay. So what you have is you have flagging tape that is tied to clothespins, and we hang these clothespins. It could be from a tree branch, it could be from a signpost, but something where it's visible. And these are basically just telling you that you are going in the right direction. And if it's a straight road that's going for, you know, 200 yards, 300 yards, half a mile without a turn in sight, we're going to limit the amount of times that we put these out. If it's a road or a trail that's constantly turning, weaving out, in and out, has multiple options of where to go, then we're going to put these more frequently. If it's something that if we're getting to a very distinctive point in the course where we want you to really pay attention, like really, really pay attention, we're going to be putting lots of these together, and we're going to have signs that are specific to our Casco Bay Islands race that will point you in the direction that we want you to go.
And guys, let me interject for 1 second. These signs right here, most of us have had at some point like a ADT security sign in our front yard. That's exactly what these are. They're going to be on little aluminum metal poles. They'll be down closer to the ground. They're about the size of your hand, a little bit bigger. And those will be there pointing you the direction to go. If long course, now Casco Bay short course is contained within the long course, so it makes sense to just have all the same color, and these probably won't say anything on them. But just be aware, if something needs to split ever, there, it may say long or short. Read these if there's any words on them, but there probably won't be for Casco Bay.
Okay, so then once we get out of the trail system on peaks, we get out to the shoreline road, and you're going to run on that until you get to Torrington Point. Torrington Point is going to be the end of the first run, and we swim over to Cushing's Island. Cushing's is a fantastic, it's a private island, and they've given us unprecedented permission to race. And every year they go bigger and better than the year before. They really have taken care of our swim run athletes. The caretaker over there and the residents, they open up more and more of the island for us to race across. So this is a hilly island as well. And so you're going to be, running up some hills, running down some hills, eventually then around the perimeter of the island, eventually getting over to where we swim over to House Island. House Island is
exiting real quick, Lars.
So, okay. Yeah. When you're going to be hopping into a swim, there are a couple things that you want to take note of. One is we have these massive teardrop flags that are pink, bright neon pink. That is where the swim exit is going to be. In previous years, we've heard people say that they can't actually see those until they get really close to the swim exit. And so what we're doing this year is adding a strobe light. And so that strobe light is going to be also by that pink flag where you need to exit. What I would recommend is looking to see where that swim exit is before you get into the water. Your visibility gets severely limited once you're in the water. And so just take a couple extra seconds, take however long it takes to identify where you're going to be swimming towards. As we noted at the beginning, the water can oftentimes have currents and tides that are changing all the time. One way to see what the currents are doing, there's lobster buoys. We're in Maine, so there's lobster buoys all over this race course. If you come upon a lobster buoy while you're in the water, look at the lobster buoy to see which way the water is hitting it and going off it. So you can then make a determination based on which way you see the water going off that lobster buoy, where you need to make some corrections to swim against the current or with the current to get to the swim exit. It could also be choppy. The water is colder than a lot of our other venues, and it's salty. So definitely recommend Body Glide and Anti-Chafe before the race start to put that all over, especially your neck, under your arms, anywhere where you might be chafing. So yeah, Aaron showed the strobe lights. That's what you're going to be looking for at the finish line. Then zero in on those pink flags.
Can I interject something real quick, Lars, there? We use these, I took these to Iceland with us at an extreme try, and you could see them well over a mile away. So they're definitely visible. Even when we had really bad fog, you could still see them at least a half mile. That being said, they'll be charged. You never know what could go wrong with these, or you never know what could go wrong with the flags. We put them out there, but just don't adhere to, oh my God, if I don't see a strobe, where is this finish? Maybe you can see the flag, or maybe you can't see the flag, but you can definitely see the strobe. Look for both. Just be aware of that.
So let's get back onto the race course. I want to keep our time in mind. We have about 6 minutes to hit 45 minutes here. So we're going to swim across to House Island. House Island is also a private island. We actually don't have permission to use the northern side of that island. And so, but we have what we think is the very cool part of the island, which goes through a fort. The owners of that island also have very, very cool glamping yurts set up, and which are actually available to stay in as well. Really, really beautiful. And so that swim exit is very rocky. And so, use care to get out of the water. So you're going to run around. It's primarily trails, and then the next swim is going to be going over to Little Diamond Island. Little Diamond Island is the home of our 4-time Odyssey swim run winner, John Stevens, who actually is not going to be racing this year. So we're going to have a new winner for the Casco Bay Islands race. This year, John is on our race directing committee. He'll be in a boat and out there on the course. But Little Diamond Island has certainly embraced us over the years. They have what is called the casino, which is what you're going to use as your visualization. The casino is just a big building that's at the end of their ferry dock. Use that as your point of reference while you're swimming. You can swim underneath the ferry dock. You can swim around the ferry dock, but the swim exit is going to be a beach that's in that area on the other side of the ferry dock. You're going to get up onto the island. We'll have an aid station there. It's a short run to the isthmus, which is connects Little Diamond Island and Great Diamond Island. This is one of those unique characteristics of our race. So if you're on the faster end of the race, it's almost guaranteed that that's going to be a run across that isthmus. If you're on the slower end of the race, that's likely going to be a dolphin dive or, some mixture of swimming and running. It'll be shallow water, but that tide will have started to cover that isthmus. Great Diamond Island is a hilly run. It's going to be on roads. We're going to stick to the outer perimeter of Great Diamond Island up to Diamond Cove, which is really steeped in history with where the generals in the military used to stay. There's really cool barracks that are throughout that island. Once again, we get to utilize a private property to go down into the next swim, which is very short and goes over to Cow Island. Cow Island is managed by one of our charity beneficiaries, Ripple Effect. Ripple Effect does youth camps to get kids outside and learning outdoor skills. So there may be kids who are camping on that island. There may be, if there's kids out there, there will be camp counselors. But Cow Island is, if you see people there, they're there for camping purposes. And once again, a very hilly and rocky island. The entrance into Cow Island after that swim is actually it'll have a rope that to get up a pretty steep rock that you're going to be pulling yourself up. Take your time. A lot of this course, it's not about going fast through the course. It's about taking your time, smooth is fast, do it right. Once again, just respect yourself, the other teammates who are there, and take care of one another. So, maybe that means if you get to the top of that rock, stay at the top. So the team behind you can help them to make that final step up. The next swim from Cow Island to Long Island was one of the most challenging back in 2019 because the sun was coming up and was directly in swimmers' eyes. Take that into account. Hopefully the strobe will help with pinpointing where that finish line is going to be, but it is about 1,000 meters.
Do you want to talk about the aid station real quick?
Yeah. So our aid stations this year, and we've got, I think we have 10 of them, but they're listed there on the race with the drops. So Precision Hydration has been with us since the very first year. They were founded by a swim runner, an excellent swim runner, Andy Blow. And so he knows exactly what goes into keeping athletes hydrated. One of the things that you do have to be careful with swim run is cramping. And so electrolyte replacement is absolutely key. So Precision Hydration, we use the 500 and the 1,000 out on the course. Those will be in the water coolers. And then we also new this year is gels. So they have gels that we'll also have on the race course. Now, because you start the race, you finish the race with what you start, many people have, gels that they like to eat, or bars or what have you that they like. Carry them with you. When I race swim runs, I always carry 6 to 8 gels with me in the pouch of my wetsuit. So that way, if I get to an aid station and it doesn't have what what works for me, what I want, I have something in my back pocket that I can have. This is what we're providing for you, though, is the precision hydration gels and the pH electrolyte replacement drink. We will have some aid stations that do have solid food, likely some fruit like bananas. And there may be an aid station that has a peanut butter and jelly sandwich squares. But really count on carrying with you anything that you think you might want out there on the course, whether that's a bar or some other kind of gel.
And real quick to add in there, volunteer wise, guys, we have a lot of brand new athletes this year, which we're assuming a good chunk is coming from traditional triathlon. And we love that you're on board. But the aid stations don't really work like they do in triathlon with lots of volunteers and hand ups and all that, and throw down your trash. If you have trash, you throw it in the trash bag. You get there, it might be completely self-serve. Our goal is to have volunteers there, but given the remoteness of some of these islands, maybe you walk up and it's just gels in a bucket, in a cooler on a rock, and a trash bag tied to something. Please manage that yourself. Okay. The best you can, do what you need to do, and then get on your way.
So then thank you, Aaron, for saying that. And thank the volunteers who are out there as well. They've actually made some of them are island residents, which is awesome. And we want to thank them for sharing their homes with us. But oftentimes others have traveled maybe just as far as you have to come to the race. And so, thank them for being out there. They're recording so that we can have our safety checks, what your numbers are. So they may be asking you, if they don't see your bib, hey, what number are you? So just, be in communication with them. So the long course and the short course, this is where we connect with one another. The short courses and solo racers are going to be starting their race after getting off the Long Island ferry dock. They're going to be starting up on Island Avenue, which is within sight of the ferry dock. It's actually where our finish line had been in previous years. And so that's where the start is going to be. You're going to connect with the long course racers on Beach Avenue. So Beach Avenue takes you down to one of the coolest, most unique islands of our race, which is called Vail Island. It's a very short swim over there, only about 300 meters. But Vail Island it's only about a half a mile in perimeter, but it's completely rocky, completely exposed. And we always say you're not going to win your race here, but you could certainly lose your race here. These are not the kind of rocks that you can just run over. This is going to be kind of a power hiking type of island. Certainly an area where you want to work in tandem with other teams, other racers who are there. Give a hand, help one another up a big rock, help one another down. Just be careful, take care of one another. The rocks are big, it's exposed. A lot of debris out there, and you do not want to go into the grass that's in the middle of that island. That is poison ivy, and you will pay the price if you go onto the grass. So stay on the rocky section of that island. You swim another 200 yards over to what's called Singing Sands Beach. Very, very fine, beautiful sand. Only a little spit of about 50 yards. Before we take you into what's called Shark Cove. Shark Cove takes you over to this really cool private residence that you're going to use as your visual. It's called the Nubble. The Nubble's like a rotunda looking building. It's about 900 yards again, and very rocky swim exit there. So take care with, getting out of the water there. Going to run through the property. Be respectful, please. We are literally in their backyard. They can sit out on their porch, which they likely will, and be watching you and cheering for you. They're fantastic. And so you'll run off their property and onto Fern Avenue. Fern Avenue is one of these island roads where, it is asphalt, but there may be some potholes in there. Probably be able to open it up a bit and stretch out the legs. And then you're going to turn onto Apple Tree Lane. Apple Tree Lane goes past private residences, but it's going to kick you into the Black Forest. The Black Forest is a single track section, which is twisty, turny, ups, downs. It's a really great section of the course. That's going to take you to the north end of Long Island. This is different than in years past. Years past, we've gone down a private property and swam across to Chebeague over to Deer Point. But this year, we're going to go all the way to Cleves Landing, and you're going to swim over to Little Chebeague that way. That's a short swim, only about 700 yards, but it's very, the currents that go through are ripping. And so this is a section where you'll want to look at the lobster buoys to see how you're going to want to make a course correction. Huge sand spit of land, of beach to aim for. Anywhere is fine. Preferably aim for our swim exit flags, but anywhere's fine. Then you're going to kick into some single track trails, which is going to be sandy because we're sandy and grass mixture. Very short section, only about half mile on Little Chebeague. Going to get to the northern point there. And again, one of these swims where for the fastest racers, it's going to be likely kind of a porpoise dive, very shallow water, maybe even a run based on what the tides are doing. And then for slower athletes, it's likely going to be more of a swim. Same thing, it's about 700 yards, but those currents just get ripping through there. And basically the smaller the amount of water between the landmass, the more the currents are ripping. And so, just take that into account when you're, choosing how to swim. So now we're getting onto Big Chebeague Island. This is a sandy beach exit. It's at Indian Point, which is on Big Chebeague. And so new this year, we're going to be running through a mixture of island roads and then also some trails. Once again, just follow our course markings. We're utilizing much more of Chebeague than we have in the past. Essentially, we're going to go up to the middle part of the island through these trails. And when you turn at the most northern part of that island, you're going to come right back down within sight of where our finish line is going to be. So you're probably going to be cursing us at this point because you've still got some running and a few more swims ahead of you. But you'll be able to hear, the spectators cheering and, get a glimpse of where the finish line is going to be there. Come back down into the lower part of Chebeague again. And then we're going to have a swim that's going to look a little different than that. This is one of those areas where we've already had to make a course modification. Our swim is likely going to be shorter, where we're going to exit before that ferry dock to connect with the road. We'll make a determination on race day what that's going to look like exactly, but we can't get in the way of the ferries that are in the shuttle, the Bay Mist shuttle that's going to be running. So we're going to make a course revision there. But that swim and that run are both very short. It's going to take you down into Jenks Landing, which we've used in past years. Jenks Landing is going to be a beach run. So you're going to be running right along the beach to Waldo Point. And that's going to be a very short swim. Could be some fast currents in there again. Swim across there. You're only about a half mile from the finish line now. Unfortunately for you at this point, it is all soft sand. Maybe some hard pack if you can find it right next to the water line. But, a quad buster all the way into the finish line. And, you have earned it at that point. So short course, total of 10 miles of running, solo, this is your distances too, total of 10 miles of running, just over 2 miles of swimming. And then long course, you're at 21 total miles, 17 total miles of running, and 4.5 miles of swimming. This course is a beast, folks, and do not take it lightly when you're, when you're making your last minute preparations. Certainly pack gels with you, pack bars with you. You want to stay fueled and hydrated out there. And most importantly, have fun. Going back to the tenets of swim run, for those of you who are doing it with teams, you stay together. You don't leave your teammate behind. This is the kind of racing where you stay within 10 meters of one another when you're swimming, which can be done without worrying about where they are with the tether. And then within 100 meters of one another on the run. But really, you should be racing right next to one another. with swim run, it's not about how strong you are as an individual. It's about how you can work with one another to make the team the strongest. You're both going to go through highs. You're both going to go through lows, and just work with it with one another.
Real
That's
quick,
really
Lars.
that's really all I have. And Aaron, anything else that I forgot?
Yeah, just two quick things. One, in years past here and when we had Boston, both races, I personally witnessed quite a few teams that came to shore and their teammate wasn't anywhere around. Once in a while, those people, I struggle to say wouldn't care and they wanted to just leave. Obviously, you can't do that. Like Lars said, you have to wait for them. But more often than not, they really worried and freaked out about where's the teammate. They were right there. We've never had it where that's been an actual emergency and problem. It just is your teammate falls behind for whatever reason, you get out expecting them to be there and you're freaking out because they're not. Relax, sit on the beach. Let us know if we're there at the beach exit that, you don't know where your teammate is, and give them a little time to exit. Every single time that's happened, they've come out. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's like 10 or 15, and maybe they had a cramp or whatever, or they were hanging off a
Okay,
kayak.
Aaron, I have to interject. That was a unique situation in Boston. It's actually unacceptable to happen. If you are different swim speeds from one another, use a tether. That's why a tether is there. If you are not the same speed, you choose not to use a tether. Faster swimmer, it is your responsibility to stay with your teammate. Period. It is unacceptable to leave your teammate at any point. We will have zero tolerance if an athlete shows up and they're not within sight with 15 minutes. Like we said, it happened. It was unacceptable, and it won't be tolerated. It's difficult to stay with one another while you're in the swim. That's why the tether is there. Use it because you know where your teammate is. They are 8 feet behind you, or they're 8 feet in front of you. If you need to know what a tether is or where you can buy one or how you can make one, email support at odysseyswimrun.com will help you out. I do also want to reference at this point, if you want a very in-depth course description of our race course, blow by blow, or you want to know anything about equipment, check out the Low Tide Boys. They're a fantastic podcast and website resource. They did a podcast with us on the course descriptions, and they tell you things like how to make tethers, optimal swim buoys to use, all that kind of stuff for beginners who may never do one again, although we think you probably will. You'll be hooked. People who do this often, and for experts. And so check out the Low Tide Boys website and their podcast. But just to get back to that again, guys, this is a team race. If you've entered, it's all about being a team. It's the highs and the lows of the day. If you're a solo athlete, okay, you don't have that to worry about, but you do have the buoy that's there. Part of being a teammate is also having a built-in safety mechanism. And so you can rely on one another if someone cramps or if someone has an issue. But we're not going to tolerate if people come out of the water very far apart.
So guys, I apologize for that. I kind of made an assumption there based on what I had seen and I didn't hear it addressed, and it probably was when I wasn't around. So I apologize for that, Lars, for sure. But it's good. It led into that, which is great that it was addressed. So you heard it from Lars, and that's it. Okay, so the only other thing, timing at the end, results aren't going to be printed out or on screens or any of that. There's a little QR code you can scan with your phone if you have it with you. You can ask our timer. There's not enough people where that would be a huge line or a big problem if you just want to know your time. The other thing is awards. At the finish, we're not doing an award ceremony for residual COVID reasons. And most of the time people want to just get out of there. They got planes to catch and all that. So what we're going to do is we'll just kind of announce times through the morning for people to hear. And then if you know that you're top 3 in your category or whatever, and you need an award, they'll be laid out on the timing table. Come up, confirm with our timer, Tony. And once he confirms your time, you can take your award and you can go. And it's as simple as that.
And what I would just want to reiterate, we didn't go over the exact times of the ferries departing both the boatyard and then also departing Shabig, but there will essentially be an early ferry and a later ferry to accommodate people who are on the front end and people who are in the middle or the back of the field. And then keep in mind also the Casco Bay lines has public ferries that do run from Shabig back to Portland. You can go to their website, cascobaylines.com, and you can check the schedule as well. Maybe you want to hang out on Shabig after the race, which don't blame you. It's an awesome island. Just know that what we are providing for you is an early option and a later option to get you off the island.
Okay. Anything else,
Yeah,
Lars?
no, thank you very much, guys. Can't tell you how excited, myself, Aaron, John are to have you. We've got a flotilla of safety directors who are out there, like I said, a medical team. This is just it's a dynamic race production. This was our first swim run that we ever produced, and there are definitely a lot of moving parts. It's one of the most fun for us as a team to do. And it's a course that's just constantly changing. So everyone, both you, the athletes, and us, the race directors, have to stay on our toes and stay alert out there. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on August 7th and then again on August 8th, race day.
Later.